A very good morning, children. Welcome to my class. In today's class, we will be just seeing the introductory part of some special quantities and which are very useful from your physics point of view. That is nothing but vectors. And in this class, in today's class, we will be dealing out why do we need vectors and some basic definitions and certain examples. How do we represent a vector and certain types of vectors we will be discussing in today's class. So let me directly enter into the content. As I already told you, why do we need vectors? We need vectors, vectors are some special type of physical quantities where they play a vital role in understanding certain situations. For example, you have been to a nearby Kiranam store and there you purchased some 1 kilogram of rice, and you are just coming home with that rice bag. So you encountered a friend and a friend asked you, what is there in your hand? You will be answering 1 kilogram of rice. There the situation ends. Or if anybody asks you what is your height, you will be simply saying that my height is somewhere around 5 inches, 5 feet 4 inches. There, regarding the situation, they asked a question and you answered. So what are you saying? You are just expressing the physical quantity in terms of magnitude, and the situation is completed. There they asked a question and you answered it. So the person who asked you understood that situation. Suppose example, you have been to a doctor's as you are running out. Reason is you are running out of a fever. So there you will go and you will check your temperature, and the doctor may say you that your temperature is so and so 98 Fahrenheit or 37 degrees Celsius, somewhere around. So temperature you are mentioning, the physical quantity you are mentioning is temperature, and you are mentioning it in terms of magnitude. So whatever the examples we have just discussed, in order to understand the physical quantity, in some cases we just require the magnitude. But in some cases, the simple magnitude is not at all sufficient. Example, suppose I have a junction with 4 ways. So here a sweet shop is situated. Imagine you are moving to the junction. You don't know where the sweet shop is located. It is located somewhere around 2 kilometers from the junction, if you imagine. So here you are moving towards the junction. You went till the junction here. You covered this distance and you asked a stranger. You met with a stranger there. You asked him, okay, could you please say me where the sweet shop is? Then he replied, it is away 2 kilometers away from here. He just told you 2 kilometers away from here. Then what you have done? Imagine you just thought only 2 kilometers. No, I can walk along this direction. You walked for 2 kilometers here. Can you find the sweet shop here? No, it's not possible. Here you need to ask towards which direction. Towards which direction the sweet shop is also located. Then he will be saying, imagine this to be east, this to be west, north, south. Then if he replies, if you move 2 kilometers towards west from here, you will get a sweet shop. Then you will go to your destination. Imagine here, if you don't know the direction, if you walk 2 kilometers north, or if you walk 2 kilometers east, or if you walk 2 kilometers towards south, will you get that particular sweet shop? No. So a small hint with direction, you are reaching your destination. Similarly, we can give so many number of examples where the direction always plays a vital role. So like this we can say that in some cases a physical quantity cannot be understood with only magnitude. You all know that physical quantity is expressed in terms of Nu, where N stands for numerical value and U stands for unit. This complete set is considered as magnitude. So as we earlier discussed about mass or length or time or temperature, this magnitude was enough. Such type of physical quantities where only magnitude is enough, they are called as scalar physical quantity. They are called as scalar physical quantities. Examples we can name them as mass, length, time, temperature, etc. So they can be understood with the help of only magnitude. They doesn't require any extra sense in sense of direction. And if you take the examples or the definition for vectors, the physical quantities which require direction and magnitude, direction, magnitude, and obey the vector laws of addition, they are called as vector. Remember, the physical quantity should possess direction as well as magnitude, as we discussed in the junction example. So again, one more condition is they should obey the laws of vector addition. These vector laws addition will come across in the next class. Don't worry about them. Simply if they have direction and magnitude, it cannot be taken as a vector beta. They should compulsory obey these laws. If they obey these laws, then only it will come under a vector quantity. So examples for vector quantities I can write down: displacement, velocity, acceleration, force, momentum, etc. So the physical quantity which have direction as well as magnitude and which obey vector laws of addition are called vector physical quantities. So examples I can name: displacement, velocity, acceleration, force, momentum, etc. We can name many of them, but time being these are the examples. So now just let me give you the clarity. Scalar vector only magnitude is sufficient. Magnitude direction should obey vector laws. Now if you come towards addition part, suppose you have 2 kilograms of mangoes with you, you brought 5 more kilograms of mangoes. Earlier I have 2 kilograms of mangoes, I brought 3 more kilograms here, so the total will be exactly 5 kilograms of mangoes. A simple addition beta. So scalars can be added based on the algebraic rules. So scalars can be added using algebra rules. Whereas if you just take out in vectors, suppose you consider this as an initial point, and a third one is I'll write here somewhere. Let this A be the initial point, B be the another point, C be the one more point here. Imagine a person is walking from A to B. He walked for around 3 kilometers. Again after that, from B again he walked 4 kilometers more, imagine. Now what is the complete distance covered or displacement covered here? You will write simply 3 plus 4 kilometer. Answer is 7 kilometer. But now as the direction also will come into play, imagine instead of moving towards C, the person walked back 2 kilometers. Now what will be the answer? 3 minus 2. Answer will be 1 kilometer from the initial point. Instead of moving back, imagine the same person after walking to B, he changed his direction and he walked 4 kilometers exactly towards his left. Earlier he was walking along this direction, now he changed his idea and he just turned towards his left and he walked 4 kilometers from B. Now what will be the answer? So displacement, according to the definition of displacement, it is the shortest path between initial and final point. So this will be the displacement. Now you can get this answer as 4 and 3. Here we got a right angle triangle. Answer will be, this will be the answer, and if I name it as C, AC is hypotenuse. AC will be under root of 3 square plus 4 square. 3 square plus 4 square. Answer is around 5 kilometer. So this answer will be 5 kilometer. So earlier we added 3 and 4, we got 7 answer. And now I got 3 and 4, but I got 5 kilometer as answer. So when you consider them as vectors, they cannot be simply added. Okay, when they are moving in same direction, we can add 3 plus 4, we got answer 7, as we have done in scalar addition. But here when they change the direction, when the direction comes into play, then we cannot add them as 3 plus 4. There are some rules, and these rules you will be understanding in the next class. We can get any answer between 0 or 1 to 7 depending upon the direction. the vectors can be added. So like this, they should be added. Vectors should be added based on the laws of vector addition, and those laws are there. We will be discussing in next class. So this is a clear picture where we can take a laws of vector addition. So why I am saying this is they should obey vector laws and Chapman. Why we have to take that particular concept is, you might have studied about electric current in your 10th class. Which is represented by letter called I. You know that I, current always travels from a positive terminal of a battery to negative terminal of a battery. So it has the direction. And you have magnitude also, will be writing 1 ampere or 2 ampere and 3 ampere. It is nothing but physical quantity, unit and numerical value. So it has magnitude, it has direction. Now can I call this electric current as a vector quantity? No, it is not a vector quantity, beta, because it will not obey these laws. You have junction law. Suppose two or more wires are meeting at one junction, the incoming currents are equals to outgoing currents. If it is a vector, then this is not current. Vectors, if this is vector A and if this is vector B and if this is vector C, A plus B will not be equal to C. So this is based on a law that we will be discussing. So for electric current, I1 plus I2 is equals to I3. But whereas for vectors, A plus B is not equals to C in this case. Similarly, we can say pressure. Pressure is equals to force by area. Pressure is applied in all directions అని చెప్పుకోండి. డైరెక్షన్ అనేది వస్తుంది అక్కడ. కానీ ఫోర్స్ బై ఏరియా ఇప్పుడు ఎప్పుడైతే డైరెక్షన్ వస్తుందో ఇప్పుడు కూడా ప్రెషర్ కూడా మనకు ఈ లా అనేది ఒబే చేయదు మనకి. కాబట్టి ప్రెషర్ కూడా వెక్టార్ క్వాంటిటీ కాదు. They come under different type of physical quantities that we'll be discussing in what is a higher classes. You will be coming across such type of physical quantity, but it is not of our sense. So we simply say electric current and pressure as a scalar quantities, but not vector quantities. Why they are not scalar vector quantities? Because they don't obey vector's laws of addition. And next topic, a representation of vectors. A vector is always represented with a straight line with an arrow, where this point is taken as tail or initial point. This is taken as head or direction. And this is called body of the vector, where we represents magnitude. Now if I just write down it as O and P, OP bar or OP arrow is a vector representation. If I just simply write down OP or OP bar magnitude modulus, this represents magnitude. If I write down OP bar, or else if I take it as a vector A vector, A bar will represent the vector. So here the arrow represents the direction and the tail or tip represents the initial point, and the body is nothing but the magnitude. If the magnitude is more, the body length will be more. So now let me give you the clarity about the directions of representations. You people know that there are 4 possible directions. They are nothing but east, north, west, south. And exactly if I take an 45 degrees angle here, and if I draw a line 45 degrees angle, this will represent northeast. And exactly if I take one more 45 degrees in this quadrant, this represents northwest. If I write one more here such that it is making 45 degrees, it is called southwest. And here also if I write down another 45 degrees in this quadrant, this is called southeast. So these are the 8 directions where we can just take out into consideration while solving the problems. Now if I write down any arbitrary direction, suppose I write a direction something like this, such that it is making a 30 degrees angle with your east. How do we represent this? This vector ela represent cheyali? So this is written as 30 degree north of east. 30 degree దేంతో చేస్తుంది మనకి? ఈస్ట్ డైరెక్షన్ 30 degrees చేస్తుంది కాబట్టి 30 degrees నార్త్ ఆఫ్ ఈస్ట్. ఈస్ట్ నుండి నార్త్ వైపు వెళ్తున్నాం, గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. అదే ఇదే వెక్టార్ని యాంగిల్ కనుక ఇక్కడ మెన్షన్ చేసి ఉంటే మనకి ఇది 60 degrees అవుతుంది మనకు. అప్పుడు దీన్ని నేను 60 degree ఈస్ట్ ఆఫ్ నార్త్ అని కూడా రాసుకోవచ్చు. One more example let me give. Suppose if I write a vector here such that it is making an angle of 20 degrees. Imagine 20 degrees. So what I'll be writing here? 20 degree east of south. East of south. So if you do 2 or more numericals based on this, you will be understanding very clearly. Draw the following vectors. Question number 1. 5 Newton force making an angle 37 degrees east of south. 37 degrees east of south. So 4 directions. This is east, north, west, south. 5 Newton force I am saying. Here we will be representing the distance. Distance means it will be either in centimeters or in meters. Generally this axis will be in centimeters or axis. 5 Newton force means we need to redefine the scale where I am taking 1 centimeter length is equals to 1 Newton. Imagine 1 centimeter length of arrow is equals to 1 Newton of force. కనుక ఇమాజిన్ చేసుకొని స్కేల్ డిఫైన్ చేసుకుంటే ఇక్కడ 5 Newton లెంత్ ఎంత ఉండాలి మనకి? ఇక్కడ ఈస్ట్ ఆఫ్ సౌత్ అంటే ఈ క్వాడ్రంట్లో రావాలి మనకి, కాబట్టి ఇట్లా ఉండాలి. సో ఈ లెంత్ ఎంత ఉంది మనకు కంప్లీట్ ఇక్కడి నుంచి ఇక్కడికి? ఇమాజిన్ దిస్ యాజ్ 5 centimeters. సో 1 centimeter is 1 Newton కాబట్టి మనకి ఇది 5 Newton అవుతుంది. నౌ 37 degrees ఈస్ట్ ఆఫ్ సౌత్ అంటున్నాను. 37 degrees ఈస్ట్ ఆఫ్ సౌత్ అంటే యాంగిల్ ఇక్కడ ఉండాలనా ఈస్ట్ ఆఫ్ సౌత్ అంటే సౌత్ నుండి ఈస్ట్ వెళ్తున్నాం అంటే ఇటు నుండి. దిస్ విల్ ఇండికేట్ 37 degrees ఈస్ట్ ఆఫ్ సౌత్. One more we can take. One other 2 meter per second velocity where 30 degree west of north. 30 degree west of north. East, north, west, south. వెస్ట్ ఆఫ్ నార్త్ అంటే నార్త్ వెస్ట్ మధ్యలో అంటే ఈ క్వాడ్రంట్లో వస్తుంది మనకు, అంటే ఇక్కడ ఉండాలి. అండ్ 2 meters per second అంటున్నాను కాబట్టి సెంటీమీటర్స్లో డిఫైన్ చేసుకుంటే ఇమాజిన్ 1 centimeter ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్స్ టు 1 meter per second. సో 2 centimeters లెంత్. ఈ లెంత్ ఎంత ఉండాలి మనకి 2 centimeters. 30 degrees వెస్ట్ ఆఫ్ నార్త్ అంటే నార్త్ నుండి వెస్ట్కు. దిస్ ఇండికేట్స్ 30 degrees. Like this.